In June 2011, the Middle East was erupting. Massive crowds occupied public squares, toppling decades-old regimes during the Arab Spring. Much of that localized anger was fueled by WikiLeaks, who had just released hundreds of thousands of internal U.S. State Department cables, exposing the hidden corruption of U.S.-backed dictators. Executive chairman of Google. The meeting made little sense on paper. The leader of a besieged insurgent transparency organization was sitting down for hours with the head of the world's largest corporate information monopoly. Schmidt brought a delegation with him. Among them was Jared Cohen, an energetic policy strategist leading an in-house think tank called Google Ideas. The group claimed they were simply there to interview Assange for an upcoming book. A few months later, WikiLeaks suffered a massive security breach. A former employee leaked the decryption password to the entire raw archive of U.S. diplomatic cables, meaning intelligence agencies and contractors were about to have the unredacted files before the public did. Assange's team needed to get the State Department on the record about the impending leak. They called the front desk in Washington, asking to be connected directly to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. They hit a wall of confused operators and were put on hold. But 30 minutes later, a WikiLeaks staffer received an email. It came from Eric Schmidt's partner, asking to verify that WikiLeaks was indeed the organization trying to call the State Department. The U.S. government had used Google's leadership as a backchannel. The tech executives who visited Ellingham Hall were acting as unofficial emissaries for the American foreign policy establishment. Jared Cohen's presence at the meeting suddenly made sense. Before joining Google, Cohen was a fast-talking strategist on the State Department's policy planning staff under both George W. Bush and Barack Obama, specializing in using connection technologies for statecraft. When WikiLeaks later published leaked internal emails from the private intelligence firm Stratfor, analysts had been quietly tracking Cohen's activities under his new Google title. The emails detailed Cohen holding meetings with Egyptian activists during the revolution, pushing to co-locate Afghan cellular towers onto U.S. military bases, and planning engagements with Iranian dissident communities near the border. The private intelligence analysts were blunt in their assessment. They warned that Cohen was executing covert political maneuvers that the CIA could not easily perform, operating with active air cover from the White House. Cohen's behavior reflected a much older corporate strategy. The original Stanford research that built the Google search engine was partially funded by DARPA, the U.S. military's experimental research division. By 2003, as the National Security Agency rapidly expanded its mass surveillance operations, Google accepted $2 million to build custom search and exploitation tools for the agency's growing hoard of intelligence data. They expanded into hardware and tracking, securing multi-million-dollar contracts with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. Google acquired a CIA-funded startup and developed it into the military-grade mapping technology known today as Google Maps. Beneath the playful logos and clean consumer interfaces, Google's physical infrastructure and revenue streams matured in lockstep with the U.S. defense sector. This financial integration peaked in 2012, when Google aggressively scaled up its lobbying operations in Washington. This animated chart compares corporate lobbying expenditures from that year. At $18.2 million spent, Google officially outranked traditional military aerospace giants like Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Around the same time, Freedom of Information requests uncovered emails exchanged on a first-name basis between Eric Schmidt and the director of the NSA, discussing an intelligence-sharing initiative called the Enduring Security Framework. In those messages, the NSA director explicitly referred to Google as a key member of the Defense Industrial Base, a bureaucratic classification specifically defining the network of manufacturers that design and produce military weapon systems. The consumer search engine had evolved into a foundational pillar of the American war machine. Offering gigabytes of free email storage creates a powerful public relations shield. It frames a multinational monopoly as a generous, utopian community project. This abstract visualization maps their true modern capability. By dominating the Android mobile operating system, Google funnels the location data, private habits, and communications of over 1 billion people upward into an industrial surveillance cone. controlling the daily behaviors and private information of a massive portion of the human race provides the direct leverage to alter the course of global history. How do executives so deeply entrenched in military intelligence reconcile their actions with the company's famous motto, "Don't be evil"? The leadership possesses a severe ideological blind spot. They believe they are doing good, but they are entirely incapable of separating the concept of universal human progress from American imperial objectives. We have to stop analyzing this company as a benevolent tech startup. They operate as the 21st century's preeminent defense contractor. A corporation that straddles the globe to enforce the will of a superpower cannot claim neutrality. A "don't be